Oh, you started broadcast with O. Is that the level I can expect from an
Hold on.
LPL guy?
Whoa. Okay, buddy.
Nah, I got Goldberg on the NLC from LFL, LEC, and it's like,
Okay.
now it's LPL?
Okay. Look, it
I'm
was more
kidding.
because I didn't realize how off center I was with camera. I thought you'd be doing your intro, but you just silenced the intro for some reason, and then it was just an awkward O to kick things off. I'm
You know
sorry.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Domino versus Raids at this point, 7th place versus 3rd place. There you go, you're centered now.
Yes,
See?
I am centered.
Magic.
It is magic. But yeah, great Domino. Like you
He's gonna
said,
kill me, chat. He's gonna kill me.
it is it is of course second place. Or technically third. I think Rate should technically be third on head to head. I think they lost their game to Natives. They were
They're
up
third,
now,
yeah,
so,
they're third. Yeah.
third against Domino, who are now currently in seventh because of the most recent game we just had. So definitely looking to pick up a win here into Rate. Only a games difference, 2 games difference actually. I think I'll take a look at the standings. 4 and 5, so 2 games behind Rate. So a big win here would definitely be necessary to keep them in playoffs, in a better playoffs position compared to the teams around them, and having actually lost their first round matchup to Rate. Definitely an even more important game to win, just to ensure that at the very least have a head-to-head, a neutral head-to-head, a tied head-to-head, and that's something we're going to have to start to track as we continue to progress into the split. Simply because right now the standings are so close to one another. I kind of said it in my in the intro today. I think the difference between 7th and 2nd is effectively 2 wins.
Yeah, it's a good week.
It's a really important week, a super week of all weeks.
And
To
it's super
continue to
week,
try and
yeah,
pick up
so.
wins. Yeah, so yeah, very important to try and keep yourselves consistent in the results side of things. And I think definitely for Domino, a team that has struggled with consistency, right? I think the funny thing about Domino is I feel like they're definitely, and this is going to sound like really like Captain obviously, but I feel like they are objectively beating the teams that they are, pardon me, better than, but losing to all of the teams that they are definitely not stronger than. Does that make sense? Like, if you take a look at the grand scheme of the expectations of all the teams in the league, they have lost to every team you'd expect them to lose to, and won against every team you would probably expect them to beat.
Okay, I understand the take. I would say that is a good take.
They have literally they have only Domino have beat Guap, London United, and Lucent, the teams that are below them, and the only win against this trend that they have is against Natives, who have kind of been on and off throughout the split as is. So if we're going by that expectation, Domino definitely needs to pull out a very strong performance against Rate, who have definitely been on the slightly more consistent side of things, right? Their losses have only really come at the hands of basically just the heavy hitters in the league, right? The likes of Natives, the likes of Munster, when they were kind of looking like they were gonna be a strong team with that sort of rebuilt version of themselves. We'll have to see again how that roster also does. But we're here for picks and bans right now. Yumi and Lulu on the one side for Ray, and on the other side, Senna Seraphine. A lot of these, utility champions have been taken off the board. Akali will also follow and target towards both Speeder and Zero, and we'll see what Domino want to respond with. Typically, we see a lot of Wukong still come out on 12-12 on this third ban here, but also you have to think of the likes of the Zeri as well, up and available. Nerfed, I believe we're on the hotfix 12.12. I'm actually not sure. I'd have to ask for confirmation on that.
But this is 12.12, not 12.12b.
If it's 12.12 and not 12.12b, then Zeri is still very much fine. I think the hotfix definitely took her down a peg or two. But what will the final ban be? It will be, of course, Errol's Cassiopeia. You don't really want to give him that one for free. And Belveth is just going to be locked in first here.
Lock?
Instantly locked in. We'll see what I expect. It will be Dual Boot piloting this one. As I'm sure what you're going to do now is go look at ability names so you know what is what. Mr. Blame my play.
I'm going to go see math, because there's a lot of math involved with Belveth, and unless you play unless Yulbo is going to play like Diamond Prox played yesterday, a heavy ganker with Belveth, because he was saying that she has a lot of mobility, and he's trying to use Belveth more as a ganker than a farmer. It didn't work out, but there's a lot of math involved.
It is very much Diamond Prox, right? To pull out a champion that is traditionally supposed to be a farmer and then just basically spam gank is so in his catalog of play. But on the opposite side, very, very strong response, right? Pick up the Wukong, one of the stronger champions on the patch, and they also pick up the Renara at the same time, so could be setting up for a Kalista R3 or just in general, a strong AD matchup if Rate pick up their AD here. It's the issue for Rate now. If they don't pick up an AD, then you can see Domino pick up theirs and then ban away to Rate are going to go for the Soraka in B2, and what will they take on the next alongside it? Hovering the Olaf, it's definitely something that we've not really seen too much. I don't like to talk about hovers too frequently, but I think in this context it's fine. We haven't really seen that much.
Talk about this one. Talk about this one.
Talk about Kane hover as well. I mean,
talk about this one.
But we haven't really seen too much Olaf, especially considering he was supposed to be quite strong, especially in the top lane, 12-10 onwards. We're gonna get it locked in, so we'll see what exactly Domino are gonna do here, because now what they're looking at is Bel'Veth plus Olaf. Olaf should in most cases be going towards the top side. Bel'Veth should in most cases be going towards the jungle. Aatrox being hovered. I would definitely like to see an AD carry in this slot. Of course, maybe they just want to try and secure, a strong top side matchup that they feel they'll be able to work around. I've seen this matchup go both ways. I feel like typically if Aatrox doesn't have enough damage in the tank to 100-0 Olaf in that sort of trade pattern, if they go for the all-in, Olaf is just going to kind of out-sustain it a lot of the time. So we'll see how exactly Domino are able to play around this Aatrox lock-in. But now Domino have their AD carry in the mid lane to lock in. And right now they're looking at a draft where it's going to be kind of tough to ban away most champions, because realistically, even the Soraka can end up mid. Whether or not Errol would pilot it like that, yet to be seen, really. He definitely likes to be on those carries. I think Domino are going to read into this one and just ban away two, strong pick tools away from Errol. The first one looking like it will be this Ahri. They could also go towards something a little more niche, like the Twisted Fate, for example, which is definitely in a champion pool. And I think right now, Rate need a little bit of hard CC, a little bit of engage potential to work with, because at the moment they are working with not really many agency options at the moment. There's a lot of scaling, a lot of farming, not really too much fighting outside of, Curl expecting to see him on the Olaf.
Final ban coming in for Domino. Let's see what happens. It's going to be the Twitch. It's not going to be allowed to be played. No AD carry so far being picked, and without the Yuumi, I wouldn't see this Twitch being viable by himself alongside with the Soraka. I don't know if that would be the pick, but at least they're afraid. Zeri is the last ban. I'm so surprised she got to go into the last ban. Now, do you get the control mage? There you go. You get the Victor. That is an easy one for Zero. How are you going to pilot this one at all? Maybe Errol will go for something more flashy play, as we usually see him play. Let's see what Hoyce is going to pick, or if he's going for the AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, see, I think the thing is here for Errol, if he really wants to, he could just go something like Corki. It's not necessarily something he would traditionally do, but right now it would look pretty okay, even though Victor is,
CC, though, for the lines.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you do, but you can also just work with damage. Right now, a lot of Domino's composition kind of just moves forward into the Wukong, the Aatrox. They're going to probably be looking to get aggressive, and right now you can just play at range. Yeah, also the Azir kind of does a very, similar thing in application right here. Kind of outrange, a little more disengage with the Emperor's Divide. So I like this rotation here from Rate, because now what it really says is we have two poke champions, or two champions that want to play at range with sustain, and then we kind of just have an Olaf chucked in there who's gonna be super tanky with the Soraka healing him up too, and he can cause a lot of disruption for the backline. But Domino, they've set up for an AD carry R5, and they've gone for the Vayne, and honestly, it's a pretty good Vayne angle. I mean, there's no point and click hard CC here on the side of Rate. It's only really the knock up from Bel'Veth, the ultimate from the Emperor's Divide, a silence at most, which turns into a root. Hellman should have a fairly free time. The matchup in the bottom side is one that you've traditionally always seen picked into the Ezreal, the Vayne as well. Rate don't really have the tools to shut this one down in the early stages, so I expect to see Hellman actually get to a point where he's going to be online. We're going to see that Vayne come through and be this absolute horror to deal with in the team fights. Rate have a very hard scaling draft though, with the Azir, with the Bel'Veth, with the Ezreal as well. The 2-item spike is going to be absolutely monstrous. That's what we're looking towards for Rate. I think Domino have a few more playing options towards the top side. Also through the jungle on Porcupine with the Wukong, a lot of more playmaking potential perhaps than Julbu will have on this Bel'Veth. It's more about how, priorities end up lying inside the lanes and who makes it to some of those objectives first. Maybe get some snowball and some gold into the priority targets for their respective sides. I'm really not sure who I prefer more in terms of draft, though. That's definitely a question I'm going to have to sit and ponder on as we get into the game.
And let's be honest, this is a late game that I was not expecting to cast. Having a Bel'Veth alongside with a Vayne And that is your late game. We're so used to the Corki, even the Kassadin on Division 2, when you look into different sort of late games. But there you go. It's a Vayne Belveth, though we don't know what to expect. Olaf versus Aatrox on the top side. I think this is a heavily skilled matchup. If Aatrox is capable of keeping Olaf away from him, but if Olaf is capable of closing in the window, closing in the gap, I see Aatrox just getting destroyed, especially with that Ghost Ignite running on the top side. Okay.
And he's got the Brolaf skin. You know what's gonna happen here. I do miss the Brolaf skin. I kind of do miss when Olaf was meta. He was definitely a
Really?
Yeah, he was an interesting champion.
You're a strange man, Jamada.
I mean, it's more because I feel like there was a really big misconception of how to use Olaf in, that sort of season 10 period when he was meta.
Explain.
So I feel like our producer just goes Redemption Olaf, best Olaf. But I think the thing with jungle Olaf is you want to use him to contest a lot of those early objectives. You want to use him to, get kind of like, dare I say, he's kind of like a bit of a jungle Kalista, right? Where he can very easily win his 1v1s, but he's also very, very good at being utilized around objectives, and they kind of fulfill that same role, short range, etc. I mean, obviously one's melee, one's range, etc. But you kind of get the point. And it felt like teams were either not really using him for objective setup, or they were kind of just using him to sit there and farm, but then, it would be like Olaf into the composition we see on Raid side. It would be like Olaf into Azir plus Ezreal. And it's like, what does he do after 20 minutes, right? But the point more or less was try and actually get him to, stack up those early objectives so you'd have a leg to stand on, which is not something we consistently saw from Olaf teams back in the day. But now, moving towards the top side, he's a much stronger sort of 1v1 duelist skirmisher, which is definitely, again, his play style and suits that a lot more. He's just going to give
what he needs to do.
Yeah, things like trades like that, right? Especially when you've got the Ignite. Trading health can be all right, especially in the early stages against Aatrox, where his sustain isn't quite online just yet. It does take, a couple of levels to really see Aatrox start to heal up a significant amount off of hitting things like the sweet spot or getting a lot of health out of the passive. Porcupine is trying to get aggressive here into the jungle, trying to interrupt the farming path.
Navi's already dead.
Yeah.
Navi could be pincered, but no, they're going to let this one slide, apparently, for Raid. They know where they are. They just need to get a little ward because the collapse is going to be on the bot side. Flashes are going to be popped. Hoys with our kinship to get away, but that's a lot of damage coming in for a single target. They're focusing. Yero is going to go down as well. Yolbu just needs to pile on this. Velocity is going to get the silver bolts, but the knockup is more than enough from the above and below. Double kill for the queen. And Porcupine is leaving limping.
And Belveth is not the kind of champion you want to give 2 early kills to. You could understand the thought process from Domino there, right? Try and interrupt the full clear of Jorbu. The issue is, I mean, it's not really Domino that have the priority in all the lanes. We'll probably get to see it in the replay, right? I mean, it's a little bit ahead of time, but you can see Rate don't really care about their wave state. The wave states are absolutely fine. Domino able to shut down, or Rate rather, able to shut down the rotation. And what was definitely very perfect here was that silence that came in from Velocity. It kept 2 members in place for Jorbu to then find a double knockup. Teamfight executed perfectly from Rate. Great early skirmish. And 3 kills going to their pocket. 2 of those into Jorbu, 1 into Hoys, who definitely in a matchup like Vayne, which traditionally can be a very rough run, going to be necessary to keep himself afloat. Hit that 2-item spike a little bit sooner than Hellman can come online. Now, Domino, what is the game plan here? Because you don't exactly fall off by any means at all, but definitely hitting an early bump in the road is not going to feel nice, and you lose out on 2 summoner spells. Fortunately, Jorbu on this Belveth. Belveth doesn't exactly have the strongest ganks in the world, right? So it's not necessarily going to be pressured per se. Ko could be feeling himself. Has a lot of damage here.
But that would be a great bait.
Yeah, Porcupine's way in, so it would be a great bait.
I don't think he's going to take that one. That one. Curl gets knocked up. Gets pulled as well. No, that's a lot of damage coming in. He gets the shield instantly to try and get some sort of sustain. Belveth is approaching the top lane. Still didn't buy anything, so she's forced to go back. Teleporters is available, so Spooler is going to try and push that wave to collapse against the turret to make sure that Olaf is going to lose anything. Oh, what a timing! But Spooder is almost at level 6, so that is a saving grace for him.
Yeah, definitely is. Curl doesn't really have too much HP to work with. Now, remember, Olaf gets a whole bunch of damage when he's low.
And the shield is going to be big! There you go! The flash is enough ignite, but bro, that was big.
Bro, that was big. And I mean, I was just about to call it, right? Curl, being 200 HP, has the W. The shield, I think, also scales with missing HP these days. I'll have to double check stats. I'm pretty sure that's what it does now. Able to pick up. Yeah, there you go.
It is.
HP. So, you know, being that low, getting that shield, it was just an additional 200 HP for Spooder to get through, which he just doesn't have the DPS to do. Was a very close 1v1, don't get me wrong, but just not able to find it. And shouldn't have been able to. Great timing from Curl. Gets the wave shoved in. Gets a good base. Now, sitting on the Iron Spike Whip plus boots. And with that level 6, very easily going to be able to run down Spooder again on that Ignite timer. I think that's what you really want to wait for. You can try and force out the World Ender, but the issue is, if you force out World Ender, and you maybe blow your own ultimate, then, you know, you're kind of working at a disadvantage. You really want to have that Ignite to try and shut down the healing from Spooder in those 1v1s. Right on the bottom side as well, pick up the Dragon, so they're winning on both sides of the map. Domino not really able to find much of anything, really, anywhere. They went for the early invade. It was turned around in their face, and now lose out on the early objective. Top side matchup, not really going their way. Vayne even falling behind 10 CS already. It's really not feeling too great.
That is going to be an early Blade of the Ring King as well, Jamada.
Yeah, we didn't even mention. Yeah, I didn't even mention Jobu's first base was a pickaxe and the recurve vote at the same time. Absolutely huge. Gonna go for another reset now. Blade of the Ring King as well. Don't forget, it's fairly cheap compared to most mythics. 3.2k. Almost has that in total gold, of course. First base, of course, 500 gold spent. So sitting approximately 600 gold away in total from being able to finish that one up.
He almost got Blade of the Ring King before getting the upgraded smite. So that's something to take into account. Yeah.
It says a lot. It says a lot. It's like, I recall, I actually saw a clip the other day on, of all things, Reddit. Don't ask me how I found myself there. Where a Draven picked up 5 kills and he had an Essence Reaver.
Oh, the Essence Reaver,
yeah. Essence Reaver, 3 minutes as Curl.
Well, this is not Tryndamere because it takes damage, but it doesn't care as well. Yeah. Curl now just running it down.
That is rough for Spooder, man, and he's going to miss up on this huge wave. That was without the Ignite, right? Remember I said you probably want to play on the Ignite time to try and shut down some of the World Ender healing. Doesn't even need it. Spooder missteps once, and no flash, no Umbral Dash. Just gets run down by those undertows, and I'm going to pick up a plate on top of it. Probably going to go for 2. Los Platos is a very strong curse.
Los Platos.
But, I mean, realistically, he can do it, right? There's nothing really stopping him here. Even if Porcupine is on this side of the map, Ignite would come up. He could maybe even find a 1v1, to be honest with you. As long as he can make his way away from the tower. Has that ward as well in the Tribush. Totally safe to do it. And rate 3,000 gold up 8 minutes into the game. Herald seems to be the next point of contest. You can see on the minimap Poise, Velocity moving up towards the mid lane. Jobu in the river already. And Curl, once he makes it back towards the top side, he will just immediately find mid lane priority and keep Spooder in place. Now, Hellman and Snabby have made their way towards the top side, but again, with very limited gauge options on both sides, being first in the river is going to be a very big benefit to Rate right now. Curl is also on his way here. Fight's going to break out.
They can't fight this. They can't fight this. This is way too dangerous. There's no World Ender for Aatrox. So if they fight this one, it's going to be the awakening of Yobu. There's the heal from the Soraka. Perfect Cyclone from the Wukong. But Porcupine is going to burn to death as Errol is going to take his life. And in the end, it's going to be a 1-for-1, but he's going to take at least that kill for himself. Spooder goes across the wall. Oh, one more axe from the Blowlap. And by the way, Errol's on Belveth awakened. And the minions will be annoying as well to deal.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. I can't remember the exact stat she gets from taking down Herald, but it's a lot better than when she picks up a champion's coral. So she's going to be even more empowered than normal for the next... I can't even remember.
I'm letting you know that when she transforms...
Yeah.
You get 90... Well, okay, level 1. Yeah, level 1. 100 ability power out of nowhere, plus attack damage, plus max health, plus movement speed, plus attack speed. And if any minion dies close to this, there you go. That little one is going to be... Oh, Spooder is going to go... Oh, this is so bad, Jamada. If they pop the Herald, they might...
They don't have it. They don't have Herald here.
What's the Herald? Oh, it was Herald?
Yeah,
why?
Herald. So, in that team fight, if we get a replay of it, what you'll notice was the Herald was kind of abandoned by Julbu because they were a little more focused on the targets in the fight instead. And Errol, the Herald was kind of aggroing him. The eye turned around. It was at 900 HP. He executed it. And I assume just picked it up in the mayhem instead of allowing Julbu to pick it up. Which you can kind of understand. The replay will highlight exactly what we're talking about. So Ray actually gets shoved into this choke here, and it's a really good gravity field from Zero to sort of force away Hoys, and you'll see Hellman turns away whilst the rest of the fight ensues. This Emperor's Divide really does save Julbu's life, as well as, of course, the Wish. Porcupine dies, and on the bottom side you see it's Hellman getting the chase down onto Hellman. But yeah, you can see the Herald kind of just there. Julbu not able to pick it up, as Errol actually walked into it instead. But if they had the Herald yet, 2 towers would have very easily been on the menu there for Rate, but they still pick up the tower itself. Stridebreaker comes in, a lot of power being afforded to the top side. Julbu already level 8, Blade-Throwing King. It's just feeling very, very powerful now. A lot more agency for Rate to work with than they already had. Domino still a whiles away from hitting some items on the top side in particular. Try and find something in response, but what you expect to see now is Rate pick up this dragon. They also have the Herald to work with too in the mid lane, probably because Errol is the one that has it. They can just look to try and snowball their lead even further ahead.
And if she gets to consume this additional dragon, she's going to awaken as well. Not as big of an awakening as the Herald, by the way, because you don't get those minions, so you only get those when you kill the void creatures, either the Heralds or the Baron. A lot of plates, only for the Herald, by the way. This was a single target plating, I think so.
Ooh. Yeah, so I don't actually know. Well, we'll have to hold the point because Sarah's dead. I'm not going to hold the point. Julbu, Julbu has about 40-ish, 41 stacks now. I don't know what the good numbers are for passive stacks at a game time like this, but being 402, being 90 CS, 94 CS rather, at 12 minutes, I'm going to say that's pretty damn good. And I'm really not too sure what Domino are going to be able to do about this, because if the short range members of Domino get into range of this Belveth, she is going to shred them. And if the squishier members come into range of this Belveth, I have a feeling she's going to also murder them quite quickly. So Domino are going to have to find something quite soon. The issue is Rate doing a really good job of kind of splitting up their power. Typically, you know, you would maybe want to see them, or in a situation like this, you'd like to see the strongest members put together, so there's maybe less of an answer. But right now, Jubu on the bottom side. On the top side, Curl is kind of just 2v1ing.
And he can take this.
Yeah, and he can take this very comfortably. Yeah, he's going to trigger.
The Ghost is online. The Ignite as well. Snappy is there. He's going to what? Force him to attack them even further. Oh, the bailout is perfect from the bot lane, from Snabby. A 4v1 and he almost took 2.
Yeah, like it's a 4v1 and he almost kills 2 people. You know, the Wish also coming on top of it. Not a good look for Domino, realistically. It was a shutdown, so a lot of gold going into the back pocket there of Hellman, but how much work will it get done, really, is the big question, as Hoys already has the Essence Reaver working towards that Muramana or the Mana Mune, the second item Spike. Hellman, yet to pick up a first item, is sitting on a lot of gold, though, so expect that the next space should provide him with his first item, but again, the build path, a lot cheaper for Hoys. He's already ahead by several hundred gold, almost 1,000, actually, I'll take it back. As is, Domino really are struggling at the moment to find a foothold in this game, and Ray are just doing a great job of continuing to suffocate them out of finding any resources on the map.
50 minutes in, there's not a lot they can play in this game. They need more time for the Vayne to wake up. Belveth is already awake, but the Vayne's still trying to get that call to stack. 19 minions away still. Falling a little bit behind from the Ezreal, but this is because of the map pressure so far. It's not an individual line. It was that play that condemned them to take this sort of line in this game. It's a complicated one. Even the Aatrox will have to freeze this lane, which allows the Olaf to roam across the map. Meanwhile, Jobo is looking for another one. He doesn't have the lethal tempo, so he went for the Conqueror. He wants to sustain himself even further on the team fight alongside Velocity Saraka. So that's way too much heal. And nobody built yet any sort of anti-heal, grievous wounds.
Nope. And, this is the thing. I was actually having this conversation with Orcs the other day.
Okay.
So they nerfed a lot of healing, right, in the game. We'll have to hold this point. I think Porcupine's probably dead.
Probably, I would say, yeah. Continue.
So they nerfed healing and anti-heal, right? And, you know, great and all. Everybody was getting tankier. Healing was looking like it was going to be pretty broken, and it is. The issue is they nerfed anti-heal because they felt like healing was still kind of strong. But then they nerfed... healing was a little bit too weak. But then they nerfed anti-heal again, and, like, think about it like this. Anti-heal before, at just like an Oblivion Orb or an Executioner's, was 40% reduced healing. Now the empowered anti-heal items are 40% reduced healing. Just sitting on the baseline anti-heal items is only 25% reduced. So even though there is typically, you know, like less healing, it just feels like there's not really much an answer to a lot of healing at the moment, as a Herald was actually picked up by Curl. Obviously, Jorbu got the takedown on the objective. And
yet again, he's not able to use the full potential. But it doesn't matter. The means are still going to rise from the ashes. As Curl is looking for the ashes of Spooder one more time. 0-4 so far. Olaf is making its due, making his comeback into the Rift. And you were talking about Olaf, so I think you got your treats for this game.
Yeah.
Do you miss it completely? Like, do you dodge the anti-heal then?
I mean, obviously, any anti-heal is going to be nice because there is so much healing kind of across the board, right? No matter how you look at it. Hoyes probably has, you know, like Bloodline in his runes at the very least. Could even look towards a lifesteal item later on in his build. Obviously, Soraka, Belveth, Olaf all have healing in their kit. So you're going to probably want it on somebody eventually. The problem is getting to the point where you can build your core items and then have enough for anti-heal anyway in a situation like this. Because you're so far behind, you know, what do you sacrifice? You sacrifice gold to try and shut down the efficiency of the enemy team's composition, or do you build towards the items that actually make your champion strong? And I'm just not sure what good choice there really is for Domino at the moment. I feel like they're just going to have to maybe like have Porcupine go Chainpunk Sworders on the top side. Curl is 1v3. Spud is dead.
Spud is going to die. Edel is looking for more. There you go. You want the blast gun. Well, meet the bro. Double kill. It's not a triple because from the outside of the Rift comes in the true shot barrage. 13-3, double digits to a single digit now. What can you do if you're Domino?
I just don't know. I feel like this game might just be a foregone conclusion at this point. It would have to be an absolutely monumental throw from Raider. Any chance for Domino to come back into it, because again, you know, the late game scaling champions are what they're going to have to rely on. The likes of Spooder and Porcupine are kind of past the point where they're going to find a whole bunch of use into what Rate have drafted for themselves. They're going to find it very hard to get on top of the Azir, very hard to get on top of the Ezreal, and even if they do find their way on top of them, they're always going to have to worry about Velocity's healing. Now on the top side, they find themselves a tier 2 Rate. On the bottom side, they find themselves a tier 2. Maybe we're going to get the Herald charge up here to continue to provide even more pressure towards Domino. And Domino already in a situation where they can just start to get suffocated out of their jungle right now. Rate, once they return back onto the map after their resets, you expect will just, you know, slowly push up their vision line and just play out for this Mountain Dragon. Domino just gonna have to pull a miracle out of the hat in order to come back into this one. I feel like at the moment, just by looking at the inventories, Rate are way too far ahead. That was a short undertow.
And he knows that. He knows that. Yeah. So he's laughing about it. He's feeling comfortable. And that feeling of being comfortable should be enough for the team to make 1-2 mistakes and probably allow them to go back. But the Ragnarok has been pulled on this one. You cannot disable Olaf while he's completely mad. The Ghost is not available, or else I would see him go in. There you go. You make that mistake. You allow the enemy to go through. Undertow to slow down. One more attack, but the shield is enough. And here comes Porcupine with the flash, with the Cyclone as well, to at least take one kill. But what do you actually get from this kill outside of just gold?
Yeah, we'll have to see right now. Curl dead, Zero chunked out whatever Hoyes is online. But on the bottom side, this is the problem. Belveth is Belvething at the moment. Somebody's gonna have to go and answer, and right now nobody's basing. Actually, the bases are getting stopped by that true shot barrage. I'm not even sure. Belveth, Jobu, stay bot, push. You can see. No, why are you going back? You get
He's going back.
Hello?
These mistakes could be heavily punished.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit tilted by that one. That's a free inhibitor tower. I'm not sure. Had Jobu based? Because he was sitting on a lot of gold prior. Can we get the scoreboard up?
He got bamboozled, by the way. You cannot jump through walls if you're not awake.
Yeah, true.
He tried.
It seems like he didn't have the shield bow before that base, so was more interested in finding that. But Blade Throwing King, most of the components rather for that mythic, you would have thought you would have maybe had a go at trying to pick up the tower. You had so much time to work with. You knew where everybody was on the map too. And I mean, if anybody comes to answer you and it's just one person, I feel like you're strong enough to 1v1 them. Interesting choice. But nonetheless, Jewel Boot, very strong. Not going to find the knock up onto Snarby there. But again, we spoke about Rate being this far ahead can just suffocate Domino out of vision now. And this is what I expect to see. There are 60 seconds, a little bit more than that actually, till this next dragon. That's where I want to see them play towards, just so they can pick up the soul, the more permanent buff. Domino don't have the damage to try and 50-50 a Baron. So if they do, I promise you they will get punished and they will get murdered in that pit. Just have to go and look towards that soul now.
Soul in 21 minutes, by the way, Jamada. That is a speed run if I've ever seen one. Elder before 30 minutes is also a good timing for Raid.
Towards the Baron instead.
The damage is there. They will get the better before the dragon spawns.
Yeah, it's gone. Like, there's nothing Domino can really do about this. Belveth plus Azir at 2 items. Baron dead. Jolbu now has that empowered form. And will be able to use it for this next dragon fight. So, yeah, Domino, sink or swim. This is the fight if you want to try and stage any kind of comeback. But I feel like that fight was maybe about 10 minutes ago at this point. Yeah, vision control, but I mean, look at Rate. They don't even care. They're just shoving up the mid lane. And Zero just getting dove, no flash.
Zero is a control mage. If you lose him, there's no wave clear, or at least reliable wave clear. All those minions are going to be helping on the push. World Ender is there, but I think Spooder's World is the one ending. He gets the Conqueror, he gets the Guard Drinker, but he gets killed in the process nonetheless. There are no minions. It's only Velbeth's servants at this point. She's going to reset the timer. Oh, misses that one. 60 seconds, that's the amount of time you have after defeating the Baron. As Elman is now forced to flash away. The fight continues, and Yobu is just looking for the turrets. He's just looking to end this one. He gets the first one. He's trying to actually get some sort of vengeance from the previous split where he didn't get the turrets. And now wants all of those swords. Look at those minions. It's an entire additional wave, and he can just dive on this. Porcupine wants to spin, but he's not winning. And only 1 HP. The bailout is not enough. Hellman is just juking. But the storm of the attacks from Jubu is more than enough to get the reset. And now go for the Nexus. Only one more turret. 5,000 HP. Separating this team Raid for another victory on the super week to begin with. And Spooder revives himself just to die one more time as the Nexus is going to collapse in favor of an astonishing win for Raid.
Yep, and Raid pick up a very dominating win, as you say. Both games today so far have been in very, very convincing fashion, and it just kind of has to be said. I said it going into the draft here. Domino, it just felt like had to wait a little bit too long, much like game one as well with Guap's composition. But not only that, Domino, it just feels like the teams you expect them to lose against, they lose, and then the teams that expect them to win against, they win. They've just been beating the teams below them consistently. It feels like, and yeah, Domino right now looking, unfortunately, not as strong as we would maybe want to see them, especially after last split where they had, of course, the potential to go through playoffs. Just a little bit of a run. I wasn't quite able to work that one out. But for Rate, very convincing win. That's going to bring them for now into second place until we see a couple of more games go down throughout the rest of today. And very convincing. We finally get to see Belveth here in Division 2. Of course, got to see it yesterday in Division 1. Little bit of a question mark around it. But this time around saw more of a traditional build. And yeah, it just looked like such a powerful skirmish, such a powerful team fight. If he was actually able to get in range, and Jewel Boot time and time again was able to lay out the hurt.
Another game that, as you said, convincing win, this time for Raid. So let's talk with them after the small break to understand how they were able to pull this one. And for Domino, what went wrong. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.